The Caldor Fire burning in Dorado County still raging out of control. More evacuations have just been ordered. This is a live look at the Dorado County evacuation map. Tonight, what you're seeing is red is under mandatory evacuation. All of Pollock Pines, population 7,000, under mandatory evacuation orders. Parts of Camino also under evacuation orders. Several other communities around Highway 50 are under threat tonight. You can find more specific evacuation orders scrolling at the bottom of your screen. This is what Highway 50 between Whitehall and Kybers was looking like tonight as people made their way down the hill. Traffic lights all the way to Placerville have been turned green so people can get out of harm's way. This fire is moving fast. This is a progression over the past 48 hours. The last 12 hours, the most significant. More than 30,000 acres have been burned. It is not contained right now, and an unknown number of homes destroyed. We have live team coverage tonight on the Caldor Fire. ABC 10's Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods tracking the fire conditions. ABC 10's Giacomo Luca hearing from thousands of evacuees about where they're spending the night. But first, we want to get to ABC 10's Van 2 live tonight, tracking where this fire is heading now. Van.
Well, Madison, behind me, these are some of the fire crews that are standing in between the Caldor Fire and Highway 50 rather, and they are staged here on the north end of the fire, just north of Mormon Immigrant Trail, which is closed and completely impassable between Sly Park and Highway 88. Take a look at this video. This is one of the spots where the fire jumped the road just about an hour ago near Bryant's. The brush and the trees so dry here that we watched it light up like a matchstick. Now, video circulating online on social media at this moment show that that same area is burning now on both sides, burning orange, that familiar scene that we have seen with so many past fires happening now with the Caldor Fire. We are on, again, the north end of the fire, just north of Jenkinson Lake, where winds are cause of concern. The worry is that the fire will reach Highway 50, and that is where mandatory evacuations are underway here. By Larson Drive, between Larson Drive and Ice House. But the crews here that you see are from Sac Metro, Folsom, and Elk Grove, and they have been dispatching from this area to help keep the fire away from Pollock Pines, which is under threat, most parts of it under mandatory evacuation. Now, more resources are underway, and of course, shifting winds are of major concern. So, as you mentioned, Madison, there are new evacuations also on the west side, west of Grizzly Flats tonight, and the entirety of Mormon Immigrant Trail, as we mentioned, impassable. So, everything between Sly Park and Highway 88 there on Mormon Immigrant Trail is completely closed. It is impassable tonight, Madison.
Van giving us a live look on the Caldor Fire burning right now as we speak, growing, and those evacuation orders, as you have mentioned, are rapidly changing. We have all the information on you need on abc10.com. Van, thank you. Several evacuation centers have been set up, but they are filling up tonight as more than 6,800 people are displaced. They include the Cameron Park Community Services District and Diamond Springs Fire Hall. The Green Valley Community Church in Placerville is still taking people tonight. And ABC 10's Giacomo Luca is joining us live tonight, hearing from evacuees who are also taking refuge in campgrounds and more. Giacomo.
Well, Madison, here at the Cameron Park shelter at the community center, it is now full. This is kind of what we are starting to see right now. There are some people who have chosen to stay in their cars. You can see many folks have really packed up all their belongings, whatever they could, put it in the vehicles, and then trying to evacuate. Look, this fire is already affecting so many people, and even tonight we are learning in a devastating way. We spoke with a family from Grizzly Flats who lost their home.
About 7 this morning, I realized that my house didn't make it.
Dozens of families like Hannah Hammonds have evacuated to the Placerville KOA campgrounds in Shingle Springs. She described the terrifying moments she packed up her newborn son and 2 young daughters to escape the Caldor Fire as it raced toward her Grizzly Flats home.
It was raining ash and embers.
It came at a challenging time. Her husband, U.S. Army Sergeant Trevor Hammonds, recently deployed for duty. She broke the news to him over the phone. Their home did not survive.
And he took it, I'm assuming, as well as he could, because he didn't want to make me any more stressed, because I was bawling my eyes out this morning when I found out.
evacuees are now scattered across the region.
It was stressful this morning, just getting ready, not knowing, how close is it actually.
Staying at campgrounds, shelters, or with loved ones. Many are unsure if their homes are still there.
Pretty shook up, worried about the house. It's a terrible thing to lose, everything you own.
Now back out here live at that shelter in Cameron Park. One of the things I wanted to point out, aside from all the American Red Cross volunteers that are helping out, are the numbers of people from the area, Cameron Park, Roseville, from really all over, bringing donations to help out these folks who certainly appreciate it tonight. Back to you.
Absolutely, Giacomo. The community really stepping up for those who really need it right now. Of course, many on edge tonight. Giacomo, Luca, live outside of an evacuation center. Thank you. We're getting questions about where animals can go. Large animals are being accepted at the Amador County Fairgrounds in Plymouth. For small animals, shelter needs, contact the El Dorado County Animal Services. The number on your screen, 530-621-5795. We want to get things over to Monica Woods now, showing us just how dangerous this fire has been all throughout the day.
Yeah, I want to start with how much this fire has been growing. And you can see the perimeter earlier this morning. And look at what happened as we headed throughout the evening. That fire continued to grow towards the Highway 50 area. So explosive growth coming in from today. It's erratic, unpredictable, something Neil LaRoe at the University of Nevada, Reno has been watching closely.
Fuels are combusting very rapidly, and it's going to drive that, what we call a convective column, a column of rising hot air up off of the fire. And if it actually gets deep enough, it's kind of counterintuitive, but it gets cold enough that it causes all the water in that plume to condense. And that's what we see is this cloud, this bright white cloud.
Yeah, that pyrocumulus, this is one of Neil's primary research areas. He says winds in this type of environment can create winds up to 10 times stronger than outside the fire.
So that means that the fire is accelerating that air that has to flow in to replace the air that's going up in the updraft and is drawing air in. And those inflows and those accelerations are ultimately what's driving the fire and kind of creating these crazy winds around the fire that firefighters often talk about.
He also says it looked like there were a few periods where this fire had rotation and likely strong fire whirls. So what is next for this fire? What are we going to see for tonight? We talk about the winds. Here's a look at the fire perimeter again, and winds are starting to shift more out of the east. Earlier today, they were out of the south and west, and that allowed that growth to move more on the north and east side of the fire. Humidity a little bit higher tonight than it was last night, up to about 64%. But you can see some of the hot spots here and the new perimeter all the way up to Mormon Immigrant Trail. We're watching very closely Omo Ranch Road because of those winds and how they will be shifting. So we'll continue to watch that as those winds start to shift in a different direction. That could change the fire direction. East to northeast winds expected through tonight, and then they start to shift out of the southeast and then become more westerly heading into tomorrow, not to mention those red flag warning conditions that continue through 8 p.m. tomorrow.
All right, Monica, thank you. We'll check back in just a minute. Meanwhile, more breaking news in the Dixie Fire tonight. The town of Mineral in Lassen County now told to pack up and leave. Meanwhile, this fire is inching closer and closer to Susanville, which has a population of 15,000 people. Both areas are where fire evacuees have been taking refuge. Now, this fire continues to burn around Highway 395 south of Susanville. The highway remains closed tonight. And listen to this. Susanville CHP officers say several people who have tried evacuating into Nevada to reach Reno have broken down. The CHP is warning people to be aware that roads in the area are not patrolled. If you choose to travel, take emergency supplies, including water, food, and blankets. Now, to give you an idea of the conditions firefighters are battling in this fire, this is what it looked like overnight. Incredibly still active on the Dixie Fire. Now, bulldozers have been trying to cut fire lines, but as Monica was saying, this weather is creating very dangerous conditions. It's creating its own weather. The Dixie Fire, which sparked 1 month ago, has now burned more than 626,000 acres. Containment remains at 31%. That's mostly contained from the start of the fire. Now, this is since Thursday. More than 1,200 structures have been destroyed. 16,000 more structures still threatened tonight. PG&E remains under investigation for possibly starting this fire. Meanwhile, Monica is backtracking more conditions for the Dixie Fire tonight.
Right, so winds again are going to be a main component of where this fire is headed next, and for this fire as well, starting to see those north and easterly winds starting to pick up. So very much concerned about where this fire is headed on the south end of it, also on the west side of this fire. Now, most of those fire lines have been fairly contained, but there is still the potential for some smoldering spots there. This is how the winds are going to continue through tonight. They actually pick up quite a bit heading into tomorrow afternoon, especially around the noontime hour. That's when we could really see those winds whipping through the canyons there. And again, they will continue until at least about 8 o'clock tomorrow, with that red flag warning in effect as well in that region.
Thank you. Also happening during this wildfire threat, PG&E power shutoffs continue tonight for thousands of PG&E customers. This is a live look at that outage map tonight. The lights started going out at 5 this evening. PG&E has been saying 16 counties are affected, including Yolo, Butte, Colusa, and Solano counties. For a full list of the areas affected, you can visit abc10.com.